Good evening and welcome. Carol and Tad would like to thank everyone for being here on this beautiful evening to share in this very special celebration in this incredible place. You have been invited to this most sacred of ceremonies because each of you have shared important and special moments with Carol and Tad. You are their closest friends and their family. You are the ones who have loved and supported them throughout both the good and difficult moments in their lives. Tonight, they wanted to be surrounded by the people they love the most. So thank you for being here. And we're going to start tonight with a reading by Corinne, Carol's sister.
Hi, welcome this evening. My name is Corinne. I have known Carol her whole life, although many of us used to know her by the name of Carolyn. But in case you don't already know it, as Greg already said, I'm her sister. My prayer for her adult life is that she find a life partner, and I am so pleased to be here today to share this day with her. I've known about Tad's for about 4.5 years ago when she first started talking about dating him, and I first met him probably over 4 years ago when Carol brought him to Champaign to meet all of us. I first thought of Tad as just quiet and contemplative. And I first thought, what words do I think about Tad? I thought, quiet and contemplative. And then since then, I've had the pleasure of getting to know you much better. Tad and Carol seem to complement each other very well. When I hear Carol talk about Tad and their relationship, I hear peace and joy. Not only love, but peace and joy and contentment. And that's what I want for her. I like to hear her talk of him and their adventures together. I've come to respect Tad and their relationship as they've walked some difficult roads together on both their parts, and I think that really helps them with supporting each other and is a good omen for their future relationship. I know my mother, who has her chair there, would be so proud of them, and she would be blessed and honored to call Tad her son-in-law. I look forward to many more years of getting to know both Tad and Victoria and Brittany, who I've just gotten to meet. Also see Tad and Carol grow together as a couple. My prayer would be many happy years serving each other. And I want to close with just kind of a snippet of a scripture. It says, "Let the heavens be glad and let the earth rejoice."
Thank you, Clarky.
What's that? Yeah. Would everybody sit down now?
Sure. You guys can sit, have a seat.
Carol and I have known each other for over 50 years, and I was impressed last night by talking to people who have known Carol for 10, 20, and 30 years. I think that says a lot about somebody that maintains friendships for that long. We grew up, I thought it was longer. I was told it was 6 years. I had it for 27 years that we were neighbors, living next door to each other. It was a long time. But we literally lived next door to each other, and the Franks and the Medlins were one of the first families to move into our street. And Carol and I became best friends. Corky and my sister Stephanie became best friends, and Carol's parents and my parents became best friends. And that was a long time ago. So over the years, we've shared many things together, some good, some not good. We actually moved to Texas together to go to school. She went to Austin, I went to San Antonio, and that trip took 2.5 days, and it was very eventful in many cases. To give you a hint, we did not talk to each other for about 20 years after that trip. So we had the opportunity to work together later in our lives, and Carol gave me one of the greatest gifts ever. My wife Ruth and I were introduced by Carol 13 years ago, and we were the first of now 4 successful matches that have ended up in marriage. I have a lot of stories about Carol, some of which, after a drink or two, I'll be able to share. But all of them have one thing in common, and I want to share a little thing that I took a picture that my family had for many years to Carol's Christmas party one year, and it was a picture of Carol, her mother, her brother, and sister sitting on our couch in our house. And it's amazing to see this 8-year-old Carol in that picture, and not one person had a problem identifying who was in that picture. She looks just a little bigger, but she looks pretty much the same. But one thing that's been common throughout my whole life with Carol has been that she's always been vibrant, outgoing, and outspoken. I've met some of the men that Carol has dated in the past, and afterwards she would always call me and ask me, what did I think of these guys? I remember the first conversation about Tad that I had with Carol, and it was before I had the opportunity to meet Tad. Carol was really excited about this guy, and she started sharing some information and wanted to know what I thought, and I didn't have much to say because I hadn't met him. But she ended the conversation with something that I thought was very interesting and something I'd never heard from Carol before. And she told me that he could be the one. And as it turns out, all these years later, you are the one. When I finally met Tad, he seemed like a nice guy, and they seemed like a good couple. The more that I've gotten to know you, Tad, I realized what a great guy you are. I could see their interactions and that they enjoyed being with one another. When we all sat down at my house a few months ago, they shared several stories about being friends, liking so many of the same things, and having a lot of things in common. And as a marriage therapist, I can tell you that those are important components of a good marriage, being friends and liking each other. Carol and Tad, throughout our weekend together, you shared with me your commitment to each other. You talked about how you respected and trusted each other, how you plan to honor, please, and protect each other. You were very, very optimistic about this relationship. We talked about how this relationship is so important and so special, and you shared how this relationship and this moment, this particular moment that you were standing here, has been a long time coming for both of you. You mentioned your love of skiing, hiking, and being active together. And while I have never skied, I can only imagine that in the beginning, it takes a long time to learn how to do that. And most people that I know in the beginning fall down a lot in their skiing. Marriage is very much like that. Through your life together, you're going to have to learn how to get up after falling down, how to repair after getting hurt, and how to adjust to one another. In a moment, you will both vow your love to each other. And I want you to remember that love is not a feeling. It is how you treat each other, it is how you think about each other, and it is how you talk to each other. I wanted to share my definition of love, and that is love is doing something you don't really want to do, but you do it because it's important to the other person. You do it without complaining, and you do it without resentment. You do it with no expectation of anything in return, and here's the important part, you do it even when they don't deserve it. And believe me, there will be moments that you are not deserving of love in your marriage, and yet the other will give it to you. Another way to look at love is when you truly love someone, you vow to serve that person with no expectation about being served by them. I want to try one more ski metaphor. There's going to be times in life together when one of you is hurting or struggling, when one of you has fallen down face first into the snow. You will need one another to lift you up, to be there to comfort you, and to stabilize you. And the good news in marriage is that rarely happens where both of you fall down at the same time. This is the marriage, one filled with hope, love, friendship, and serving each other that I hope for you. Before you take your vows, I want to take a moment to remember and acknowledge your mothers, Virginia and Donna, who I know you both miss very much, and who I know are here with you in spirit tonight. Carol and Tad, you're about to exchange your vows with one another. This is the oldest and most important part of the wedding ceremony. The words you have written have extraordinary meaning and are your sacred promises to one another for the rest of your lives. Carol, are you ready? Whoopsie.
Tad, after years of dating, failed relationships, tears, and soul searching, I had all but given up on my dream of finding that special someone to spend the rest of my life with. Then one fateful night in February of 2012, I walked past you on my way to the bathroom, and my life changed forever. You are my sun, my moon, and my stars. You're my best friend, my lover, my skiing and cycling buddy, my fellow animal lover. You are my everything. One day, you insisted on coming home with me to visit my mother because she had fallen ill. Your kindness and generosity towards her and my family truly proved to me the kind of man I know you are, and I knew I never wanted to let you go. When my mom, may she rest in peace, passed away just 4 days later, I gave my heart to you forever. Today I make the sincerest promise one heart can make to another. I vow to be your constant love and support and your devoted partner in life. To be transparent, vulnerable, and allow myself to grow through your exceptional love for me. I vow to be your home, to be your place of comfort and calm. To have faith when our journey is effortless and faith when it is challenging. And when we face adversity, we will never do so alone. You are the most remarkable, unique, and wonderful man I have ever known. So kind and so compassionate and so giving, and not to mention so handsome. I love you, I cherish you, I adore you, and I cannot wait to spend the rest of my life with you.
Dad?
Before I give my vows to Carol, I have a comment for all of you here. I'm honored to stand here before all of you with an open and joyous heart. Before I give my vows to Carol, I wanted to express the joy and gratitude I have for all of you. I thank you all dearly for coming. Some of you have come from quite a distance. All of you have put your busy lives on hold in order to celebrate this moment with us. And what a celebration it is. Yet it is more than just a celebration. It is a witnessing. And when I say a witnessing, I mean it in a much deeper sense than simply observing what's happening. Throughout history, communities of friends and family have bonded together in support of each other to celebrate good times and collectively face the bad. Because of the history each of you have with either Carol or me or both of us, this collective group is our community and becomes part of a truly sacred spiritual bond we form here today. By your very presence today, you will help remind us for years to come of the commitments we made, of the joy we felt, and bolster our determination in the face of hard times. My hope and ask is that each one of you will always help celebrate our successes, help us forgive ourselves and each other for our careless mistakes, and most of all, help us remember this day and the joy we celebrate today for each other, particularly when the dark side of the world around us would conspire to foil our memory or our hearts. Carol, I have so many, many words I could express about thankfulness, admiration, respect, and love, all wrapped up in the amazing fortune I've been gifted by finding a life partner in you. Let me just say this. What I love about you most is your inner beauty. From our first night together, when the goodness of your heart burst like a radiant sun through your gorgeous smile, to your caring of animals, to your boundless energy and rich laughter, to our many adventures together and countless conversations about the nature of love, loving, and being loved. I respect your intelligence, your wit, your drive, your optimism. I appreciate you for understanding the pain I've endured, the courage to help me heal, and the willingness to stretch your own comfort zone in order for us to be a close, loving couple. My commitment to you is to actively listen, to be patient, to know that being right isn't as important as being there for you. My promise is to continue my own efforts to increase my own self-awareness, to practice the teachings I've learned for myself and that we've experienced together, to acknowledge and be accountable for my own failings, and strive to not blame, but to forgive and improve. My vow is to ensure that you forever understand the appreciation I feel and the gratitude I have for how your wisdom and love for me and for us helps inspire me to be a better man and husband.
We're now going to exchange the rings. Not sure. The ring is an ancient and visual symbol of the promises you have made to one another. Your rings are precious because you wear them with love and they symbolize your commitment in marriage. Tad, as you place the ring on Carol's finger, please repeat after me. With this ring, I marry you and bind my life to yours. It is a symbol of my eternal love, my everlasting friendship, and the promise of all my tomorrows. Carol, as you place the ring on Tad's finger, please repeat after me. With this ring, I marry you and bind my life to yours. It is a symbol of my eternal love, my everlasting friendship, and the promise of all my tomorrows. Before I pronounce you husband and wife, I have just one more thing I want you to do. Your wedding day is one that seems to fly by. It is filled with emotion, friends, rings, celebration, and busyness, and birds.
And birdie kisses.
So I want you to take a few seconds to look into each other's eyes. I want you to think about the happiness that you're feeling in this place, in this moment, and vow to yourself that you will love and serve each other for the rest of your lives. Tad and Carol, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Tad, this is the moment you've been waiting for. You may now kiss your wife.
Does Mark have music to play?
Yes, he's going to make an announcement.
Okay.
No.
Oh.
Okay.
You gonna make an announcement?
And now to all the friends and family who have come to celebrate this marriage, it is my pleasure to present the newly united couple, Tad and Carol.
There's your music?
No.